Right, so the next part of our tutorial is that we're going to be looking at forms. Forms are very useful features within a website because they allow us to capture information from a user and for the user to be able to send it on to the website owner. The way that these can be laid out is that they can gather very simple bits of information and data, or they can be quite complex. We're going to start off first with a very simple form that's going to capture information like the first name and the surname of the user. Now we're going to go into our main content area where we've just finished off creation of our tables for qualifications. Then underneath the tables close tag, we're going to create a space and we're going to put in a new tag. And this new tag is going to be called form. Again, get into the practice of closing the tag as we open the tag. And I've put a bit of space in between the two tags for the following tags that we're going to be doing. Now in our form, we're going to want to make sure that it's clear and obvious to the user what the input cell is all about. So we put a little information in front of it. So in this instance, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put first name. This is just plain text. Alright, hence the reason it's still black up here. It's not actually a tag. So we're going to put a little label here, and then we could put a line break, and a line break is a open tag br / okay, it's one of those self-closing line breaks. And then what that's going to do is we can put a new line underneath that. That's going to put a new line in our website, and this first name is going to be sitting on top of an input box, and this input box uses the following tag. So it's going to be input space type equals speech mark, and we have to declare what the sort of input is going to be will be. So in this instance we're just going to make it a simple text box, or just text. We're going to give it a name as well, so that when we come to target it later on, we could play around with it. So we give it a name, and that's going to equal speech mark first name. Then close the speech mark, then close the tag. What we're going to do here at this point is I'm just going to get you to save it. Alright, and then go to preview it. And you'll notice now we've got first name and then this little input text box here. You can type in stuff like random bits and pieces if you wish. So we're going to go back to our Notepad++, and we're going to put another line break. So at the end of our input we're going to go and put another line break, and now this time we're going to put the surname. So SURNAME colon, and then I'm going to put a line break after that again. And then I'm going to put another input box, and I'm going to go through the process again. Input, and give it a type of text, and then we're going to give it a name, which is going to be surname or last name or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put it surname. I'm going to put at the end of that again a little line break, and I'm going to save that and preview again. So what we've got here is we've got a first name and a last name, and then I'm going to add a new feature. Now this new feature or new input type will allow us to do some quite good and cool stuff. So if we go back to our Notepad++, we're going to add another input type. So type input, and then we're going to give it a type, and now this time instead of it being text we're going to call it radio. Now radio buttons are basically a selection or an option where people can choose one or the other. they can't choose both. So in this instance, we're going to be playing around with gender. So we're going to give it a name, and we're going to make it equal gender. And the value of this input type, we're going to give it a value equals, speech mark, we're going to make it male. And then one of the other nice features about this radio button is we can make it that it's automatically checked. So we can make it that when the page loads up, that the male option is already selected, and the user will then need to either change or not change based on their own gender. So I'm going to type in the word checked. Notice that Notepad++ automatically gives us an option for checked, but I'm going to type in checked all the way anyway. And then we're going to close that tag. Now, for the time being, if I was to save that and preview it, it's just going to give me a radio button that's automatically checked. But no one knows what that radio button is. So if we go back to our Notepad++, we're going to put a little label on the end. So we're going to type in male, and then we're going to put a line break underneath. So here we can see we've got an input type that's a radio button. It's going to be name for gender, and its value is going to be male, and we're going to declare that this is automatically checked when we first turn up. And then we've got a little label to say that it's male, and then we're going to put a line break after. So what I'm going to do for pure quickness and ease is I'm going to select the whole of that line, and I'm going to copy it, and then underneath I'm going to paste it. Now all I need to do, quite simply, is to change a few of the areas here. So I'm going to change the value from male to female, and then from checked I'm just going to delete that checked. And then in the label, I'm going to change it to female. Now save it and then run it. And you should now have an option where it says male, which is checked already, and then female. Watch what happens when we click on the female. We now can only have one or the other. So that is how you create a text input box, which is text. That's how you create a radio button. And then the final bit that we're going to play around with is we're going to look at how we submit that to a website owner. So underneath our female option here, we're going to put a new line, and we're going to do another input type, and it's going to equal in speech mark, and this time it's going to equal submit. We're going to close the speech mark. Its value is going to equal submit. And then we're going to close the tag. So if we save that now and then run it, you now have something that resembles close to a simple form with a button that says submit.